In a world where gods collide and shinobi bend the laws of reality, a question arises that defies all logic. The last Uchiha with the power of a demigod, could he face a Saiyajin prince who challenges even the gods of destruction themselves? On one side, Sasuke Uchiha, at the peak of the Fourth Great Ninja War, bearer of the Rinnegan, master of the Susanoo, and heir to the legacy of the Sage of Six Paths. On the other side, Vegeta, the proud Saiyajin prince, capable of destroying planets with a snap of his fingers, and Goku's eternal rival in his most divine form. But do absolute numbers decide everything? Does the raw power of a warrior surpass the skills, hacks, and cold intelligence of a legendary ninja? Today, we'll dive deep into the details, as this battle goes beyond mere strength, speed, and technique. We're going to put two titans from different universes face to face, and especially work with the hacks because many people have commented that Naruto doesn't have hacks, while Sasuke has countless abilities that are very hard to counter, even for very powerful warriors or even stronger ones who don't have defenses against these hacks. Sasuke is possibly one of the Naruto characters with the highest chance of defeating high-level Dragon Ball warriors, and he's also one of my favorite characters from the series. Sasuke Uchiha is an extraordinary shinobi. It's well known that Naruto and Sasuke are far more advanced than other characters. Sasuke embodies generations of hatred, betrayal, and ambition, all concentrated in a single gaze. During the Fourth Ninja War, Sasuke awakened a power that put him side by side with Naruto himself, the direct heir of the Sage of Six Paths chakra. With the Rinnegan in his left eye, Sasuke bends space-time, teleports instantly, and traps his enemies in illusions from which not even the strongest can escape. His perfect Susanoo, a colossal armor made of pure energy, is practically invincible within the shinobi world. He survived explosions that would devastate mountains, fought tailed beasts that could destroy countries, and still managed to deal with Kaguya, a character who, for many people, is considered multiversal. I don't agree, but I would place Kaguya at a planetary to solar system level. If anyone believes Vegeta would easily defeat Sasuke, it's important to keep in mind. While the Saiyajin prince relies on pure strength, Sasuke has hacks that can turn the tables even when it seems impossible. Imagine a warrior who can swap places with any object on the field. Imagine someone who can predict your moves, erase your memories, all with a glance, and seal even legendary beasts with a simple touch. Would Vegeta, with all his arrogance, be ready to fight against a master of tricks who turns any battlefield into his personal chessboard? If Sasuke is a master of mind games, Vegeta is the titan of raw strength. Since his birth, the prince of the Saiyajins has carried the weight of a warrior race that placed their expectations on him, now extinct. Shaped to be the strongest, the most relentless, the proudest among all the fighters in the universe, Vegeta destroyed planets even when he was a child. He mastered legendary forms like Super Saiyan Blue, and even Evolution, which rivals Goku's Ultra Instinct. In the manga, while in the anime this evolution form is more comparable to Blue Kaioken, in the manga, Ultra Ego is more comparable to Incomplete Ultra Instinct. Vegeta even surpasses Goku's performance with Incomplete Ultra Instinct. In the manga, Blue Evolution is sometimes used. Without even reaching Ultra Ego, while Sasuke tears mountains apart, Vegeta wipes out entire worlds. And he does it as if he's just brushing dust off his shoulders. But it's not all about power. But the Tournament of Power? Yes, that was about power. Vegeta traded blows with Jiren, a being who alone threatened to collapse a universe. With every defeat, Vegeta doesn't give up. Vegeta returns stronger, more brutal, and hungrier for victories. His essence is to surpass limits, making him more than just strong. He is what many people are missing nowadays. Someone who refuses to accept that there is anyone impossible to defeat. Every speck of dust destroyed by him is a reminder that, if he wants, he can crush everything around him. But is his brute strength enough against an opponent who can trap his mind, bend the battlefield, and attack from where you least expect? Vegeta, in theory, could obliterate Sasuke with a single attack. But Sasuke, having only one chance, would be all he needs. And this video will address one of the biggest controversies in the history of the power scaling community. The effectiveness of a Genjutsu against Dragon Ball characters, and the ability of Naruto ninjas with refined skills to defeat monsters like the characters from Dragon Ball. Because those who watch Naruto keep wondering, wait, Obito controlled Kurama, Madara did too, and Kurama was a giant monster surrounded by immense power. Couldn't they do the same thing with a character like, for example, Vegeta or even Goku? Of course, Hex, special abilities aren't everything. They're an extremely important aspect that will be carefully evaluated. But physical and practical attributes are also very important. And when we talk about pure strength, I believe there's no doubt. While Sasuke potentially had planetary-level power due to his battles with the Otsutsukis, he never actually achieved anything on that scale in practice. Vegeta, however, is in a league of his own. He can pulverize planets, and the stronger his transformation, the greater his destructive potential, reaching nowadays a universal plus to multiversal level, considering that Ultra Ego is on par with Goku's Ultra Instinct. Even so, we could maybe put him at low multiversal, which is already terrifyingly greater, countless times greater, and maybe the human brain can't even comprehend just how much greater that is. These attacks rip through space and time, with blasts that make the gods of destruction rise from their seats. And what about speed? Well, the difference is also frightening in this regard. Sasuke reacts to attacks at the speed of light, a feat that would put any ninja in the pantheon of the untouchable. But Vegeta traded punches with Jiren, who was crossing universal distances in fractions of a second. For the Saiyajin Prince, light is just another obstacle that doesn't even tickle his ki. There are people who believe that the speed of light was only surpassed in Dragon Ball Super. It's natural. Some people haven't watched the series and give their opinions as laymen. However, if you want to know a bit more about the speed in Dragon Ball, later check out my video about the difference between Saitama and Goku. And there, I show you how the speed of light has been practically nothing since the beginning of Dragon Ball Z, or even before that. To define Vegeta's speed today, we would have to say that it's probably countless times the speed of light. Goku, in his true Ultra Instinct form, fought equally with Gas, who has a speed of 2.5 quadrillion times the speed of light, according to the official Dragon Ball website and manga, which states he crossed the universe in 20 minutes. Although Vegeta in Ultra Ego hasn't reached this level, after his recent training to master the transformation, he may have surpassed it, only below the complete Ultra Instinct, which Goku has likely also improved. But even if he were inferior, it's still enough power for us to consider a speed blitz, and I'll talk more about that later. So, is it decided? Would Sasuke be obliterated in a matter of milliseconds? Not really, because strength doesn't mean invincibility, and speed without strategy is just a waste of energy. Sasuke is a master of traps. While Vegeta charges forward like an unstoppable comet, Sasuke watches, calculates, predicts the moves, and at the right moment, switches places like a simple stone behind Vegeta. 1 second, 1 strike, 1 seal, and who knows, the Prince of Pride finds himself trapped in a Genjutsu, from which not even the Divine Ki can escape. This is just theory, of course. The immense, aggressive power of Divine Kai could destroy any mental prison with a roar of pure energy. So the real question isn't who is stronger. The real question is, could Sasuke find the opening to use his secret weapon? And would Vegeta give him that chance? And even more, would it be enough to take down Vegeta? Imagine the battlefield. An open valley, trees ripped out by the shock of energy. On one side, Vegeta, surrounded by a blazing blue aura, the ground cracking beneath his feet with every step. On the other side, Sasuke, eyes fixed, analyzing every movement and vibration in the air. Vegeta acts without hesitation. He charges forward with wind-crushing speed, a punch that tears through mountains and a kick that would make a meteor feel like a breeze. Sasuke raises his Susanoo, the giant purple warrior, to block the attack, but cracks spread across the ethereal arm. In the blink of an eye, Vegeta punches straight through the Susanoo, landing a direct hit on Sasuke's face. Or rather, what he thinks is Sasuke. In a flash, Uchiha swaps places with a simple kunai, embedded behind Vegeta. It's time for the final blow. Well, is that how this fight would go down? Everything is based on this possibility, because I don't believe Sasuke could beat Vegeta any other way. Because Vegeta's speed is probably greater than the speed of a neural synapse in Sasuke. In other words, before Sasuke could even think of anything, Vegeta could end the fight regardless of being in his base form. All because of a concept known as speed blitz, where basically a character, by being much faster, blitzes the opponent and wins by speed. If strength is on that character's side, man, the speed blitz becomes much easier. So, Sasuke would need to trust that his Sharingan would have the ability to predict Vegeta's movement beforehand, and then set a trap to put him in a Genjutsu regardless of the form. Because Vegeta doesn't know that by looking into an Uchiha's eyes, he can be caught in a Genjutsu, unlike Guy, for example. You could argue that it's not necessary to look into an Uchiha's eyes to be caught in a Genjutsu, but that only applies to the infinite Tsukuyomi. The rest manipulate the chakra network in the opponent's brain. The Sharingan kind of hypnotizes by looking into the eyes. It manipulates the target's chakra flow through eye contact. That's why it's so dangerous. The Susanoo can also cast Genjutsu, but it requires line of sight. Sasuke doesn't use Genjutsu through sounds or smells, nor through sealing or physical contact, but would that work on Vegeta, who would be vulnerable if he looked into Sasuke's eyes? Well, Genjutsu is an illusion technique that works by manipulating the victim's 5 senses or chakra. In the ninja world, Genjutsu works because everyone has chakra, even civilians, and the chakra flow can be manipulated, interrupted, or distorted. That's why a strong ninja can break a Genjutsu with willpower or by disrupting their own chakra flow. A Uchiha's Genjutsu is very difficult to escape, often requiring external help. Kurama frees Naruto in this case. If it weren't for Kurama, Naruto would be much more vulnerable to Sasuke in the battle at the Valley of the End. But does Vegeta have chakra? No, he has Kai, a different vital energy that doesn't follow the exact rules of ninja chakra. Chakra is spiritual, but also physical, mixed inside a system of channels, tenketsus. Kai is pure vital energy, but spiritual strength, but it doesn't have the chakra flow that a Genjutsu manipulates. So is Vegeta vulnerable? Supreme Genjutsu like Tsukuyomi or Kotoa Matsukami directly affect the mind and don't always require manipulating the victim's chakra, just visual contact. So theoretically, a powerful Genjutsu could induce illusions in Vegeta's brain. But Dragon Ball characters have a history of resisting mind control. Vegeta has already broken Babbidi's control, which would be like Genjutsu in Dragon Ball, a kind of mind magic. I believe that in Dragon Ball, what would be most equivalent to ninjutsu and genjutsu would be magic, but it's still not the same thing. However, equalizing the basics would also equalize that. Pure willpower and ki blasts cancel out or expel mental interference. So, what divine power would cancel out a genjutsu? Well, in theory, divine power works as a barrier that protects both body and mind. Vegeta is the most proud and stubborn guy in Dragon Ball. If he feels his mind being touched, he can release a Kai explosion so violent that it can break a weak or medium illusion. To trap Vegeta, it would have to be an instant Genjutsu Tsukuyomi level, and even then, Vegeta would still have a chance to break it because of his massive amount of Kai. Because in Dragon Ball, as you evolve your fighting power and your Kai, you build up resistance, both physical and mental. That's why a character who's immensely stronger than another usually becomes invulnerable to the other. So Sasuke probably wouldn't have any attacks that could hurt Vegeta because of the difference in resistance and strength. But in the case of mental attacks, it would probably be similar, so Genjutsu probably wouldn't be effective. Sasuke could even catch Vegeta off guard once, but all Vegeta would have to do is release his divine ki or feel real pain to break the illusion. His mind is too tough, and ki works like a natural firewall. So the idea that Sasuke can't manipulate Vegeta because he doesn't have a chakra network is completely valid. But even if we made the basics equal, like ninjutsu and genjutsu from Naruto being similar to the magic in Dragon Ball, spells like Babbidi's, which can control a being like Majin Buu, who can destroy a universe, even if it takes a little time, are on an absurd level. I'm not the owner of the truth, but I think it's more likely than not that Vegeta could even resist a genjutsu, making an end to the fight by speed blitz much more likely than any of Sasuke's magic working. So for those people who commented about Naruto's hacks, I really like Naruto, but I don't think you can really push it that far.